Today was a monumental day for us. My wife, aged 32, and I, a 34-year-old man, welcomed our first child into the world. The atmosphere in the delivery room was charged with anticipation. I was right there by her side, squeezing her hand, doing everything in my power to offer my support. She was in the early stages of labor, facing sporadic contractions which, according to her, weren't too severe at that point. I showered her with love, praising her strength, while being mindful to keep my chatter to a minimum. Out of the blue, my wife implored me to leave. Confused, I inquired why, only to be met with her firm insistence on my departure, even threatening to summon security if I lingered. This left me feeling utterly humiliated and, quite frankly, heartbroken. Not only was I unexpectedly ousted from witnessing the birth of our child, but it was also under a rather harsh ultimatum. This incident has forced me to confront some uncomfortable truths about our relationship. Despite our years together, I've harbored doubts about my wife's feelings toward me, suspecting they might be influenced more by my career and family status than by genuine affection. Her lack of enthusiasm upon my return home, the brevity of our embraces initiated by me, and her distracted attention during our conversations have all contributed to this uneasy suspicion. I've never labeled her motives. I believe there's affection there, but the depth of her love has always been a question mark for me. In a grim contemplation, I've pondered whether my absence would profoundly affect her or if she would swiftly move on. Legally speaking, in the event of my demise without a prenuptial agreement, she is entitled to a significant portion of my assets. In a recent decision, I opted to adjust my will, increasing her share of my separate property from the statutory 25% to 30%, alongside the entirety of our shared assets. The remainder is designated for my children and other relatives. This decision, made amidst a whirlwind of emotions following today's events and our ongoing marital dynamics, has left me questioning my actions. Was it petty to amend my will in silence, driven by hurt and a quest for some semblance of control or acknowledgement? It's a complex weave of personal turmoil, legal considerations, and the raw, unfiltered chaos that life sometimes throws our way, all unfolding on what should have been a purely joyous occasion. Childbirth is chaotic and raw, and sometimes things happen that are less than glamorous. Take, for instance, a scenario where the mother might accidentally defecate during contractions. It's possible this happened with your wife, and she preferred you not to witness such a vulnerable moment. Instead of understanding this, it seems you spiraled into doubts about her love for you, fueled by your own hurt feelings. Let's address the elephant in the room. You seem convinced your wife's affection is tied to your financial status. While you're avoiding outright calling her a gold digger, the undercurrent of your actions speaks volumes. As a new dad, rather than embracing this life-changing moment, you're fixated on altering your will as a form of retribution for what was likely an instinctual response to a highly stressful situation. Jumping to conclusions and plotting future punishments on such a pivotal day. That's not just petty. It's a glaring sign of misplaced priorities. It's baffling that amidst the whirlwind of welcoming your first child into the world, your mind is preoccupied with strategizing over perceived slights. This level of pettiness and self-absorption is bewildering. It's as if you're orbiting a different emotional universe than your wife, who was merely asserting her need for space during an intensely personal experience. Switching gears to my brother and sister-in-law, who've been happily married for a decade, their recent news of expecting a child filled me with mixed emotions. My sister-in-law, an amazing individual who's been wheelchair-bound since a childhood accident, faces additional risks during her pregnancy. Concerns like preeclampsia, blood clots, and potential complications during labor are legitimate given her condition. When I voiced my worries, hoping to ensure they were fully prepared for the potential challenges ahead, my brother's defensive response caught me off guard. They've thought this through, embracing the risks with open eyes and a solid plan, underscoring their deep commitment to expanding their family despite the hurdles. He insisted they've got a whole support network lined up, her family, friends, and medical professionals all ready to provide everything necessary for the baby. My concern wasn't meant to cause harm, but I can't help feeling that they're making a reckless choice. They're taking significant risks with my sister-in-law and the unborn child's well-being, all for the sake of having a biological kid. Adoption was an option, yet they're gambling everything on this path. We've hit a silence since that conversation, and they're clearly hurt. My mom thinks I was out of line and owes them an apology, and my husband's on her side. But from my viewpoint, I was just laying out the hard truths. Since you're so into diagnosing with Dr. Google, I tried plugging in your behavior. The diagnosis? You're the problem. And guess what? Dr. Google suggests minding your own business as the best remedy. Seriously, your sister-in-law isn't a child. She's a grown woman, fully capable of making her own decisions. It's unbelievable how you're downplaying her autonomy. The world doesn't see her through the lens of her disability like you do. Many women with disabilities experience pregnancies just fine. They just need tailored care. It's arrogant to think you know better than her or her medical team. And yes, they've confirmed they have her doctor's backing. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. It was made with thorough deliberation and expert advice, unlike your armchair Google research. Pregnancy carries risks for anyone, yet it seems you're fixated on her situation alone. Remember, medical professionals, with years of education and direct consultation with her, are on board. Your Google-fueled knowledge doesn't trump their expertise. You've let your uninformed fears cloud your judgment, leading to a significant overstep. Time to apologize and keep your opinions to yourself moving forward. Reflect on why you felt the need to voice these concerns so loudly without the full picture. Apologize sooner rather than later, and let this be a lesson in humility and respect. I've been with Tom for a significant chunk of time, and his daughter, Evie, from a previous relationship, has been a big part of our lives. From early on, I've played an active role in her upbringing, opting to stay home with her to avoid daycare, leading her Girl Scouts troop, and even coaching her brief foray into sports. Working part-time allows me the flexibility to be there for her, a commitment I've never taken lightly. Evie has become like my own daughter. Everything was smooth between Diana and me until Evie started calling me mommy 2 years back. It wasn't something we encouraged, but when we talked to her about it, she expressed her love and desire for me to be another mommy to her. This shift led Diana to insist on Evie spending 10 to 12 hours a day in daycare, aiming to limit her time at home with me. Tom was against the daycare idea, but Diana went ahead and enrolled Evie in one for alternating weeks, then cut off our nightly calls. Evie used to call me every night for her bedtime song, which I was told I sang just right. But suddenly, it was deemed my fault that Evie was struggling to sleep, crying at night. The situation escalated to the point where Diana stopped all my communication with Evie during her weeks, causing Evie distress. She developed severe separation anxiety from both me and Tom, struggling with eating and sleeping unless we were there. The daycare environment was so challenging for her that it prompted a call to CPS concerning Diana. We secured a child psychologist for Evie and gained primary custody, though we've kept Diana involved in Evie's life. They have regular FaceTime calls, and we arrange meetings whenever Evie misses her mom. Evie's recent ballet recital became a point of contention. Diana stated she would leave if I attended. Despite Tom siding with Diana, I went because Evie wanted me there, and I couldn't bear to disappoint her. Diana, having volunteered for hair and makeup, left abruptly after seeing me there, missing the recital. When Evie inquired, I gently explained Diana wasn't feeling well, a version of the truth to spare her feelings. However, Diana told Evie the real reason for her absence, prompting Tom and me to reveal the full story to her. Through all this, my primary focus has been Evie's well-being, navigating complex dynamics to ensure she feels loved and supported by all the adults in her life. Evie's mom, Diana, has stirred up quite the storm with her actions at the recital, leaving everyone scratching their heads. Was I wrong for showing up? Absolutely not. It's heartbreaking to see Diana's choices driving a wedge between her and Evie, all because of spite. Hopefully, she'll come to her senses before it's too late, but right now, she's distancing herself from her daughter in a way that's just mind-boggling. Diana's stance of "I'll leave if you come, but I won't miss my daughter's recital" is ironic because she had the power to stay, keeping her distance from Tom and me if that was the issue. Her actions are doing the exact opposite of what she intends, pushing Evie even closer to me. It's not just the relationship at stake here, it's Evie's well-being. Diana's jealousy and actions are more than just a personal vendetta, they're affecting Evie's mental health. This isn't just some teenage drama, it's real life. And it's hurting a young girl caught in the middle. We might need to take this back to court, documenting everything because Diana's now openly manipulating Evie's emotions, and that's not okay. Full custody might be the next step. Switching gears to a different kind of drama, my mother-in-law's birthday on December 27th is another saga. She insists on erasing all traces of Christmas on her birthday, demanding that it's all about her. Last year, I got a sizable Christmas bonus and decided to splurge on a designer bag she's always wanted for her, combining it as a Christmas and birthday present. The cost was significantly higher than what I spent on others, so I felt the combo gift was justified. On Christmas, I handed her the gift, hinting at its dual purpose and hoping she'd open it with me there. But she resisted, choosing to wait until her birthday, making a point that she didn't want to mix the celebrations. When she found out I couldn't be there for her birthday due to work, her reaction was extreme. She accused me of ruining Christmas for her, returned the gift, and isolated herself, dramatically sobbing. Her husband suggested I buy another birthday gift, but I stood my ground. Maybe that makes me the bad guy in their eyes, but blending Christmas and birthday celebrations seemed like a reasonable compromise to me. After the whole ordeal with my mother-in-law's birthday and Christmas gift, I decided enough was enough. I told my husband it's his turn to handle the gift shopping for his mom. So far, he hasn't picked out anything for this Christmas or her birthday. And honestly, I'm not stepping in to help. As I'm writing this down, part of me feels a bit guilty, wondering if I'm being unreasonable for not wanting to get her anything after how she acted. But then again, gift picking isn't exactly my husband's forte, and it looks like she might not get a gift at all. Am I wrong for sticking to my guns here? Some might say I should just return the gift, get my money back, and maybe even send her a picture of what she missed out on because of her tantrum. Letting my husband deal with his mom's antics seems like the best move. It's baffling how someone can throw such a fit over their birthday as an adult. I've been through this before, deciding to stop buying presents for my in-laws and telling my husband it's his responsibility now. It was tough at first, especially with a partner who's a last-minute shopper, but oh, the relief of not having that stress anymore is incredible. I'd be tempted to show her a picture of that purse and say, "See what you missed because you acted like a toddler?" Then maybe just give her something small and simple, like candles. But that's just me being a bit petty. On a completely different note, there's been trouble at my son's school. They had a fantastic math teacher who retired, and her replacement is nowhere near as good. My son, along with many of his classmates, is struggling with math now. The new teacher seems unable to explain the material properly, leaving the kids confused and overwhelmed with homework they can't understand. When she suggested I should be teaching my son math at home, I was livid. I'm juggling enough with two kids, one with chronic illness, and a full-time job. My job is to make sure my kids are taken care of, not to take over hers. I couldn't help but snap back at her, questioning why she expects me to teach my kid when that's clearly her job. She accused me of acting out of line and even mentioned calling Child Protective Services on me. My response? A sarcastic "good luck with that" before I walked away. Next thing I know, the school principal's on the line, telling me I've supposedly verbally attacked the teacher. Seems like everyone's missing the mark here. Yes, the teacher's not doing her job right and blaming me for her own failures, but I guess I could have handled it better. Instead of losing my cool, I should have taken it up with the principal or even rallied other parents to address it formally. I get it. My frustration got the better of me, but this might backfire, especially for my son, who's now known as that kid whose mom snapped at the teacher. Was I really expecting my outburst to make things better for him in class? Not my brightest moment, for sure. I had every right to be upset, but the approach? All wrong. Going off on the teacher wasn't going to fix anything. If anything, it's made things awkward at school, probably for my son too. After cooling down and reading some tough love comments, I admit, my reaction was over the top. Watching my kid's grades plummet from a solid 85 to barely scraping 60 was a low blow. I'm no math wizard, and with his brother already swamped with college, it's not like help at home was easy to come by. Add his health issues into the mix, and you can see why patience was thin. The teacher, with her less than charming attitude and bizarre rules like capping retake scores at 90, didn't help. My youngest is gunning for a top college, so every point counts. How she's allowed to skate by with minimal effort is beyond me. So, a group of us parents, fed up with the subpar teaching, decided to take legal action against the school for failing to provide a proper education. With a lawyer in the family, we're pretty confident about our chances, armed with ample evidence of her lackluster teaching methods. Here's hoping for a win, not just for us but for the quality of education at stake.